My guest moved to California from Utah back in 1989, attended the San Bernardino Sheriff's Academy, graduated top of his class, joined the Riverside County Sheriff's Department after that, been in law enforcement for more than 30 years, was elected sheriff of Riverside County in 2018. He's become the first major Republican to declare his candidacy for governorship. Please welcome to the program Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco.
Thank you very much, Larry. I appreciate that.
Sheriff, before we get started, I just want to tell you, California, as you know, has 58 counties. You are one of 2 or 3 sheriffs who openly supported me when I ran for governor in the recall election. Several gave me private support. LA County Sheriff Villanueva attended a few of my events and took pictures with me and all but endorsed me, but didn't do so publicly as you did. You did, and I appreciate it, and I will never, ever, ever forget it. You did not have to do that. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. I thought you were going to pull that thing off.
Yeah, for a while we scared him. It was in the recall part was 50-50 for a while, and then he called in the dogs and outspent me 10-1, and then it changed. But let's talk about you. How does Mrs. Bianco feel about this?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking, because as you and I both know, that's the most important question. She's just as passionate about this as I am, and we're both in it 100%.
Why did you decide to do it?
You know, there was a lot of things that basically built up to this, and it wasn't a one thing. It was an ongoing thing over the last several years. But in the end, I know that California is failing, and it's failing for my kids. It's failing for all of my friends. They're all leaving. I'm losing all my friends. I'm losing all my friends' kids, businesses, and I'm looking at the people that are talking about running for governor in this next election, and the potentials that are still out there, and the ones that have already declared, and we're doing that definition of insanity, where we're just going to do the same thing over and over again. We're going to pick the same type of people that got us here in the first place, and we're just going to repeat. And we're going to be 4 years from now, we'll be talking about the same things. And what I believe we're lacking in California is leadership. We don't elect leaders. We elect personalities, and we elect fancy names or millionaires or whatever the case may be. We don't elect leaders. And I think that California is starving for a leader to go into Sacramento and actually make a difference in the direction that we're going, and start caring about others more than themselves, and worry about Californians instead of special interests. And I'm going to be that guy for them. I think I've built that reputation over the last 32 years, and I think it's time. I think California is ready to make a big change in what we've had, because when you walk out your front door in the morning until the time you get back home, you know that California is failing its residents.
Sheriff, as you know, there hasn't been a Republican elected statewide in California in 20 years. We, meaning Republicans, are outnumbered 3-1 by Democrats and by independents. How do you overcome that?
I think we're just going to have to appeal to the common sense and the reason that the majority of us have. And while we have been stuck on, we've fallen into the psychological warfare of D versus R, and that's all we go by, is whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. And again, we forget about character and honesty and integrity and those types of issues. And I believe that based on what we saw with Prop 36, people are saying, 73% of the state voting for what is a conservative, hard on crime, tough on crime policies. That sends a message. And I think we're going to capitalize on that. And I think people are realizing that maybe that D and the R isn't the way to go, and we need to get somebody in there that can make a difference.
I think you're right. I hope you're right. Certainly something is happening. 36 passed overwhelmingly, as you pointed out. George Gascon was defeated handily. And you're finding out that people feel very strongly about fire mismanagement and water retention and things like that because of these horrible fires we just now had. So I think maybe even Californians are beginning to wake up.
Yeah, I think so. And when it comes down to it, the overregulation is what's driving everything. It's the taxes and the overregulation that are sending our businesses to other states. It's sending our kids to other states because they can never afford to buy a home here. You're retiring. You can't retire here. You have to retire somewhere else because it's too expensive. And I think it's gotten to the point where it affects everyone's everyday life. Whether you're a parent is sending your kids to school to be indoctrinated instead of educated, and it just goes on, and it's never ending. And you can only take so much before you start standing up against what's causing it. And as long as we can get the message out that we are something different, that I can offer you something different, just common sense and reason to take care of Californians instead of the special interests, I think this is going to be easier than we think.
Sheriff, for the first time in 150 years, people are leaving California. We've lost about 1 million people in the last 3 years. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to ask you, what do you think the most important issues are here in California? Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, candidate for governor of California. Sheriff, you are a Trump supporter. I'm a Trump supporter. I had taken one picture of Trump in my life when I ran in the recall election, and they showed it every 15 seconds. I could see the ridges on my thumbs because we had our thumbs up. Have you taken a picture with Donald Trump? And if so, it will be used over and over and over again because they will call this a, quote, Republican takeover of California, end of quote.
Yes, I have, and I'm waiting for that to happen. And you are exactly right. And this is what I'm going to do different in this campaign. I think I'm somebody a little bit different. I will tell you, I might be a little bit different than you, and you're a nicer man than I am. And I am.
You don't know me that well, Sheriff.
I'm going to refuse to allow them to run this campaign and control this campaign. We're not going to talk about the things they want to talk about. Talking about my picture with Trump is a distraction from their failures. And I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be obnoxious in their face. And I'm going to let the people know of the failures that our government has imposed upon us in the last decades, and we're going to get this fixed. We have so many things that are wrong. The things that we're supposed to be the best at for a state, we're the worst, and the things that you never want to be good at, we're the best. And it's so disheartening because this state should be the best in the country, and we've lost it. It used to be, and it's time for us to get it back.
Let's talk about fundraising. Consultants tell me that to run seriously, you need to raise about $100 million. Are you going to be able to do that? Is there somewhere people can go right now to donate?
BiancoForGovernor.com. You can donate from the webpage, or you can donate via check. We have an address on there if you'd prefer to do it by an actual check. And we'll be doing plenty of fundraisers around. And you're absolutely right. You can't. This is going. I unfortunately think that this is going to be well over $100 million that we're going to have for this campaign. And it's really going to come down to the businesses and the people. I'm sacrificing my life for this. A fantastic career, a fantastic position, and fantastic retirement. And we're going to do everything we can to save the state, but a little contribution from a whole bunch of people can make a difference.
BiancoForGovernor.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Talk to me about the most important issues facing California, Sheriff.
You know, I would like to say there's about 50 or 60, but just the top ones, I lump these together: taxes and overregulation. We pay the highest taxes in the entire country, and we're not getting a benefit for it. And a lot of the taxes come from overregulation that they call fees, so they don't have to call them taxes. And we have to take a look at all of those, get rid of the ones we can, substantially lower the ones that may should have to be there. And then that goes with wasteful spending. I'm the worst. I don't want to pay taxes, and I don't want to pay taxes, especially when I know that it's being wasted on things that it shouldn't be spent. So the wasteful spending and taxes all come together, and a lot of that wasteful spending is mostly on special interests that we will do away with. Our education system is broken. It's the worst in the country. We're failing our kids, and it's not the teachers. It's the entire system. We have fantastic teachers that are just waiting for retirement because the education system has given up on our students, and we need to fix that. We have a water problem in the state, obviously, for our farmers and our dairy farmers and our growers, but then also now we all see that it's also for fighting fires. And then an energy problem. How the greatest state in the country, and we can't even turn our air conditioning on in the summertime without forcing and causing blackouts. So we have major infrastructure issues in this state that need to be fixed because of government overreach and government abuse. And we're just going to get rid of them and let the California ingenuity and the people that really want to make a difference fix the state for us.
Sheriff, before these fires we recently had, a lot of people couldn't get homeowners insurance. Mine has increased almost threefold in the last several years. A lot of the people living in Palisades were on the California Fair Plan. That's probably going to be bankrupted by all these claims. And then everybody else is going to have to chip in. So what are you going to do about the rising price of homeowners insurance here in California?
Yeah, we certainly have to rein that in, because we can't make the insurance companies go broke. That's what they're there for, is to take care of us in a time of need. But here's the thing: I'm also not going to let our politicians blame the insurance companies. It's not the insurance companies' fault that California regulation has driven up the cost of insurance so far that they go bankrupt when disasters happen. So, especially in this fire, the fire insurance industry for years has been warning our state government that they cannot do this and that they're going to have to pull out, because it was just a matter of time before one of these natural disasters for fire take over one of our cities, and they will not be able to cover it. And I guess they called their bluff, and the insurance companies decided to pull out or raised rates substantially. And I don't like it. I don't think that they should be doing that, especially if it's just to make money. But in the end, they've been warning us for years that the overregulation was causing it. And now we can see that really is what it was. The absolute fact that California causes a mismanagement of our forests that put us in this situation that allowed that fire to be so monstrous and deadly, that's what caused this. It wasn't the insurance rates. It wasn't the insurance company pulling out. It was our failed government.
Sheriff, I followed you for years. The only thing that you've ever done that I was curious about was a time, I think it was back in 2020, where you had a bunch of Black Lives Matter protesters and you knelt in front of them. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, if I failed at anything in that, I just let it go, and I let people's opinion have whatever it was that they wanted. And in the end, in the beginning, going up to it, I was one of the most vocal anti-BLM people there were, not because I don't think Black Lives Matter, because they certainly do, but that movement was a fraud. And now we know that it was a fraud. And the people that were behind it were not, they weren't genuine in their concerns. And so we knew that there was going to be a riot. We were working with the person that was making that happen, and I befriended him. He was in our backgrounds. He was going to be a deputy, and I trusted him. And I think he took advantage of me. He knew that I was one of the most vocal anti-kneeling people that was going on at that time, that I didn't think it was right, and we weren't going to do it. And he took advantage of me a little bit, and I let my guard down, and we were supposed to pray. And I talked other deputies around us into praying. And as soon as we started to pray, he bolted. And I looked at him running away, and as I looked, there's a camera right there on me. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And I had a lot of apologizing to do for my peers that I was harsh on because it was happening to them, too. And it's unfortunate. And I certainly had a heart for what they were doing, and as a law enforcement officer, it's their right to protest. But that was a disingenuous movement, and it's unfortunate.
Sheriff, 45 seconds left. Talk to me about homelessness. We have the worst homeless problem in America. What do we do about it?
We have to stop calling it homeless. We have to seriously address the drug and alcohol addiction that is causing our psychosis. It's a drug-induced psychosis. We have to address the real issue. We have to force these people into treatment, get them sober, get them mental health if they need it, and then we can put them into to government-funded job programs and get them help that way. But if we just keep throwing money at nonprofits that are not helping, we're going to be in the same boat.
BiancoForGovernor.com, BiancoForGovernor.com. Sheriff, I take it you've never eaten at the French Laundry. I'm joking. Thanks for coming on, Sheriff.
You're welcome.
God bless. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.